Hello everybody, dobro pozdravovat and welcome to our first game matchup 6 versus reverse. We're going to start off with, of course, no grass on the floor with our beautiful spectator buck, with Lemagic on the Deathslinger representing Team Reverse against the survivors of 6 who are so far trying their absolute hardest to stealth out and avoid any early game chase, most likely trying to rotate onto generators that are not affected by the corrupt intervention. That is also, of course, the most default perk you're always going to see. And Lemagic is also going to come in with the Warden's Key. And once again, the cigar, the first shot already landing onto Ultra relatively early on, onto our Quentin main, straight through the window. Lemagic, however, is not going to get any value on that cigar and is instead just going to go for the lunge straight onto Ultra. That is going to be our first survivor injured, and in the men's status, Lemagic already being able to get rid of Shack Pellets here. Ultra now only able to play fillers, tries to crouch around, but is on a very unsafe tile, and this could be a down very early on into our game.
Yeah, and this is very dangerous. Nice shot coming out from Lemagic, and this is potentially our first down of the game. That's very early into the trial, considering your corrupt intervention hasn't even run out yet. Wow, what a start. And I have to say, because you've mentioned it at the start, this is my favorite spectator bug of all time. I think the maps just look so much better and so much clearer like that. But
absolutely seconded.
But that's aside, we do have the first hook for our killer. On the other hand, the survivors are doing a great job on pushing over those generators, and with no ruin in the trial and only one pop kick available, we might see at least one gen popping, if not even 2 or 3.
Yeah, now that you mentioned that Pop Goes the Weasel, I find that a very intriguing pick here, as Pop Goes the Weasel is generally seen as a perk that you only bring in if you're confident on your killer that you can get several stages here. So Lemagic might either try to gather some status here throughout the late game progression, as the survivors are starting to narrow down on the generators and build up potential 3-gens for the late game. But Lemagic already being able to get Pop Goes the Weasel so early on, and Ultra is caught out of position, doesn't have the Shack Pellet available as it has been preed up so early on. Lemagic with a beautiful double back straight into Ultra, going to land the shot, and that is going to be the down onto our Quentin, the second one in the game. But we do of course have to mention that Decisive Strike is allowed against Deathslinger, so this might be the potential play, and exactly that, while Lemagic just finds the next survivor. Chibani hiding on Shack is going to be able to connect the M1 straight onto our survivor. That is going to be one injured, running to the opposite side of the map here, as that Rancor now also reveals the position of all of our survivors. That might be a bit of an inopportune timing here, as Lemagic really needed that aura reading or the location reveal right at that moment. Tries to go for a snipe onto Neverhad, who however will be able to dodge it with that default Adam outfit, I believe it was. But Lemagic with so much pressure here, now going to pick up Quentin, and that should be the second stage onto Ultra at 3 generators remaining, with still a 3-gen available on this side of the map, and of course also the Pop Goes the Weasel, since there's no rune to be removed from the trial. So Lemagic is going to keep this extremely powerful gen regression perk throughout the entire trial.
Yeah, what a start here in the trial, and you have to say, with the confident pick of the pop perk, this is Lemagic really showing why he brought that perk, because we are actually going to get a lot of stages in very early on. Also now the reset coming out onto Chibani, who was also injured, so there's a little more time taken away from that from our survivor side. We have seen another gen with quite a lot of progress, but the survivors definitely have to keep going on their objective, because now we see Lemagic kind of camping down Ultra, so we might be looking at the first elimination at this point as well. So you kind of have to make a choice, and we do see a first survivor kind of coming in, trying for the save. There's the second one we have a hit onto the hook, actually. What?
That is such an unfortunate timing here. Ultra was so close to dying, and this would have been the death at 2 generators remaining inside the 3-gen. That could have shifted the tide so tremendously in Lemagic's favor. And we can also tell that Ultra is not the player using the decisive strike here, as his teammates are trying their absolute hardest to protect Ultra. The insta-pick is going to come through, convinced that there's no decisive strike, and that is the case. Ultra dies at 2 generators remaining. Lemagic will be armed with another pop Goes the Weasel activation, and we have Chobani on Water Tower abusing the fact, of course, that our poor Lematic is stuck with playing a 110% movement speed killer, but is going to be able to catch up to Chobani. A very nice red stain mind game here is going to force our survivor to to jump into the locker, but Chobani, of course, an attempted look. It comes through! I believe that's the first locker flashlight save we've seen this entire season! A beautiful play by Team 6, being able to get the locker flashlight save on ping against Lematic. This was such a crucial save on our teammate, absolutely unbelievable.
Oh my goodness, first we had the shift in favor of our killer here with the early elimination from Ultra, but now with the flashlight save and giving our survivors even more time, we have the 4th gen pop in the distance, and this is only the first hook onto any of our other 3 survivors, so this is a huge swing for our survivors here. That was... I'm still gasping, holy hell.
Never Had, not even playing Criminal Adam, will be able to get that flashlight save. That was so crucial for the game. Lematic is going to claim that hook now on the opposite side of the generators of the map here, opposite to our generators. So this might not be enough time yet. Never mind, it is Lematic will be able to find his way down to the shack building side, and will be able to get this Pop Goes the Weasel off that generator. You're going to see Never Had trying to run these rather unsafe tiles in the middle, only has a TL available. Lematic with a triple back here will be able to potentially get that first hit. No, Never Had with a beautiful vault is going to be able to avoid that lunge by Lematic. Might have been a bit overconfident here. Lematic could also just go for the shot here, but tries to, of course, preserve that shot, because an M1 in a bad position for a survivor can just be connected by a shot right after, and that would, of course, score the down here. So Lematic is gambling for exactly this. We're gonna see Never Had standing still on that pallet here, but Lematic will be able to get some cigar value. Not going to get as much distance here, but Never Had should still be able to make it to the middle of the map here, as Lematic still, of course, has to reload, which is going to happen right now. Wansky going to help out considerably, but Never Had still struggling to find a good tile here. Is going to get very close up, and Lematic is going to connect the shot, and that is going to be the down onto Never Had, our 3rd individual down and the 5th stage of the game.
However, we are quite far away from our D-gen combination here, so there might be the question of how far have the other survivors been able to push one of those 3 gens over on the other side. However, we now have a pop coming available, but it doesn't matter, as the 5th gen just pops right in time. However, due to the Rancor, we do know where everybody is at, and I'm not sure if that bug was fixed already, so that you can't mori someone, but it doesn't really matter, because you still have the Know It on your hand. So you, if nothing else, you have the insta down on both of our survivors. So we're really in a tricky spot now, and we're able to locate the Nia as well. This is huge.
This is exactly the survivor you don't want to go down, as Joiking has not been hooked yet. So Lematic is inevitably going to be able to get every single survivor hooked at least once. Right next to the Know It here as well. I don't exactly know where the gates are, but yeah, okay, that Never Had already is on the exit gate here on the other side of the map. But Joiking hook right next to that Know It, this should seal the fate for our Nia player. But Never Had is going to be caught on the exit gate, caught in action. We're going to see Chobani on the opposite side, on the opposite exit gate here, but Never Had already behind main building here, and it seems like Lematic is just going to set up a tent in the middle of the map here, trying to force Joiking to death, as this would grant the full 3 stages and leave Lematic at 8 stages, which would be a very good Deathslinger performance coming into this. Also considering that this is 6's pick, and we do see both teammates leaving, that is going to end up with 8 stages for Lematic on the Slinger on the opponent's pick. So coming in with so many stages right away is going to send quite the message to our opposing team.
Exactly. I mean, we are looking at a current score of 20-14 in favor of reverse, and I think that sends a really, really clear message to 6. Don't underestimate us. But with this being 6's pick, and them obviously, they have to be confident on this as well. I'm very excited to see what they can put up on this killer in just a quick second. And we're back into the trial, this time even with grass on the ground. We have never had on the killer side for Team 6 versus the survivors of Reverse. And we're looking at a current score of 20-14 in favor of Reverse. We've seen an amazing trial the last time, so this is going to be really interesting. What do you think is Never gonna pull out of his hat?
Yeah, great question, considering Lamatic has already pulled through extremely well, coming to the very first game with an 8-stage performance on the Deathslinger, getting every single fracture. We're already going to see this extremely aggressive play by Neverhad, very well known for their Deathslinger, and of course also now with a unique add-on combination that I don't think we've seen a single time. And gonna see just the shot after shot after shot. It's absolutely beautiful to see. But so far, every time we've seen Cigar and the Warden's keys, but this time we're going to see the Tin Can and the Warden keys, which is... Yeah, we're already seeing that with Neverhad's gameplay here. Just spam, shoot. Extremely aggressive, and I just absolutely love to see it. And I'm really looking forward to what Neverhad can pull off here in the future, can pull off here throughout the game. Now going to force the injure onto Hubi, who is going to keep trying to dodge Neverhad's shot in the open. But Neverhad, of course, just baiting our Nancy in. Yeah, as you already said, now with grass, yeah, now also with skins, because I was informed backstage. Beautiful shot here by Neverhad around the corner, but I was informed backstage that the no grass bug also affects survivor skins, so our survivors might have had skins in the previous game, but all appeared default. But a very early game here, very early down by Neverhad here into the game. It does not rival the pace that we saw from Lamagic in the previous game, but instead of the, I believe it was No Way Out last game? Oh, I actually don't remember. No, the No It, right?
No It.
Instead of the No It, we're going to see the double pop and the ruin on Neverhad. Very interesting to see 4 gen slowdowns, or 3 slowdowns if you don't want to exclude the corrupt intervention. But very interesting to see these 3 slowdowns on a Deathslinger.
Yeah, I mean, I guess with the performance we've had in the last trial, you're really trying to push up 4K, apparently even before all the gens are popping. So that, I mean, that kind of has to be your game plan with when you look at those perks. And I have to say, the Rune is working overtime for you right now, because we haven't had a single gen pop as a survivors. We're kind of caught off guard in your corrupted era, which now actually has already expired, and we haven't seen a single gen completed. So we are doing a pretty great job. We also have 3 survivors injured. We have seen a really fast reset onto Pally, but of course now you're going to put a little more pressure onto the gens first, because you have to pull them out now. I mean, look at the pressure you have on Neverhad.
As to mention it again, oh, look at this beautiful snipe here once again. I just love to see Neverhad's aggression with these shots, of course, with that Tin Can and Warden's keys. The Warden keys, of course, affect the reload time, and the Tin Can, on the other hand, grated straight through the pallet, of course, and the Tin Can on the other side, on the other hand, is going to affect the cooldown reduction from every missed shot. So Neverhad with that Valorant bootcamp experience, going to be able to put so much mechanical skill onto our first-person shooter killer. It's just beautiful to see every single survivor injured, and a second slug comes through now as well with that add-on combination, just oh so aggressive. Neverhad putting up a phenomenal Deathslinger performance, but our survivors are also fixing the generators in the meantime, and Neverhad still has to get, I believe, 6 more stages for at least a tie.
We are on a really good way though, and with the Unbreakable being banned against Deathslinger, also at least one of our 2 injured survivors have to rotate in to get Pedro off the ground if you don't want to just give him another fresh hook right away. However, I think our survivors are actually split around the middle, so in order to reset, they would have to cross Neverhad, and now our Pally has actually been located as another down, and now we know where the last 2 survivors are at as well, because the Unhook just came around the corner during our down, and I think we're following Laser right now.
Yeah, and also to mention now that we are seeing so much all the add-on comes through. So I did see the lockup doors open there. I was questioning whether there was going to be the add-on, and the add-on is going to come through. On a side note to mention here, Deathslinger has actually been banned every single time against Team 6. And as we can say, for very good reason, this is the first time 6 was actually able to pick Deathslinger, and we're seeing exactly why. Never had with so much unbelievable pressure so early into the game. Every survivor still injured, finding to interrupt the reset as well. No one's keys, but this might be the launch around it, and it connects. The down onto Hubi comes through. This Never had just keeps getting 2 slugs simultaneously over, or 2 survivors incapacitated. We see Pale trying to get back on a generator, but they all remain injured. So if Neverhad finds any of these survivors, he will be able to interrupt them immediately and put them into the dying state. There's so much pressure on Neverhad's hands here, especially also with that double pop. We're gonna see, I believe that was in a healing. Last second here, not the head-on actually, because I didn't see the head-on there, but Laser was in fact healed. And we still just have Neverhad not even trying to secure any status or trying to tunnel here. We just see stage after stage. We have 3 separate survivors already been hooked, but Pedro finally able to get that ruin out of the game, but Neverhad still has an ace up his sleeve.
Yeah, and with the ruin being in the middle of our map here, you could run the risk of Neverhead rotating over to maybe get another sneaky shot onto, but it looks like we're actually trying to secure our first kill now onto Hubi, but as the survivors only have 2 gens popped now, you're really in a very tricky situation. You are forced to do something, and you need to do something really quick. And it seems like the first thing that's gonna happen is the reset onto Laser, which could have been another inner healing actually, but now we have the first elimination. So it's very, very head on head.
Yeah, with all survivors having been injured in that exact situation, no one was able to save. They would have had to at least rush in with 2 injured survivors, and one of them would have had to take the down for the team. We're just gonna see Neverhad keeps on spamming and zoning the survivor beautifully. Pedro, the only survivor who's not injured, who's not healthy, will be found caught off guard, and the down is going to come through in the corner. And that is already going to be the 6th stage of the game with 2 more generators to go. Neverhad just has such an abundance of stages so early on. This is going to be near impossible for our survivors to rival, but there's still 2 gens to go, and the Deathslinger is still a 110% movement speed killer. So if our survivors manage to put up dominant chases and are able to get through these last 2 generators, then there is still hope. But as of now, it is looking very grim, especially with Neverhad just being able to keep on sniping and putting up so much pressure with the Hell's Redeemer due to that add-on combination that is probably going to buff the shot itself the most.
Yeah, actually, but now that we have spotted Pally is actually the last Freshhook survivor, and if you are Neverhead after the possible elimination onto Pedro, that's exactly what you need. All you need for a tie, if the survivors were to complete the last 2 gens, would be the last Freshhook, but it doesn't even seem like we're going to get the rescue onto Pedro right now, and now Pally is injured. If they get this, they need to complete all the gens in order to even get a tie.
That interruption of the Anuk was so crucial for Neverhad here. We see Pale getting injured and then not trying to 1-for-1. I don't exactly recall whether this survivor is dead on hook here, but the 1-for-1 could have come through in time as Neverhad did commit to the lunge onto Pale. But with Pedro dying, that is going to be the 7th stage, and Laser is found in the corner of the map as well. 1 more stage and that is going to be the tie condition, but 2 more generators are still to go, so this is looking extremely good for Neverhad here. 1 more down should be the win here, as both of these survivors are not dead on hook, so any of these survivors secure to death would spell out the victory for Team 6 in their pick.
Oh, now you really have to be careful. I mean, we probably won't be seeing any survivor just trying to hide out or anything, because you really need those gens to be down, and so I feel like we're gonna see another gen pop, but I think this really looks like a 4K on 2, if not 1 or 2 gens remaining.
It really depends on how Neverhad is going to try to hold these generators, because if the 4K2 generators wants to be taken, then Neverhad will also be forced to leave this 3 gen. That to emphasize on, still maintains at the very end of the trilogue with only 2 survivors remaining, and both of them also injured. So if Neverhead finds any of these 2 survivors, it is going to be the GG. But it seems like Neverhead is going to stay on this side here, expecting at least one of these survivors to maybe cut through. But their best bet, of course, right now would be to reset and then slowly and more than carefully push into this 3-gen extremely slowly and unnoticed. But we are going to see the penultimate generator popping now. Never going to go with another beautiful snipe onto Pale, and it is going to connect over the tile, but not gonna be able to make it with the lunge. Gonna see Never not even reloading here. Has so much confidence that Pale is going to drop here, but I believe that was the balanced landing here with the drop off main building. A beautiful utilization of that exhaustion perk. We're just gonna see Never shooting and shooting, of course, with that tin can, not suffering a penalty as strongly as of course without it, because as I mentioned previously, this add-on combination is probably Deathslinger's best combination when it comes to the shot itself, and of course not its effects. For example, rusty chains or the cigar that of course has different passive side effects. But Neverhead with this extremely aggressive Deathslinger so far in a beautiful position, has the 3-gen, has 200 survivors left. This is looking like it should be a 4K at 1 generator remaining.
However, Pali did do a great job in the other... in the chase earlier, and this is really nice patience coming out from Pali, but this is going to be the connect and the down. So now if... I expect Never to go on a slugfest now, honestly. With the Unbreakable being banned, you can really try and spot our last survivor as well, and Laser kind of has to be in the area. We've seen him sneak around, so he's not too far away, trying to make a little bit more distance to just hide out. But I have to say, if Pale goes into second stage, well, I mean, if Pale goes into the second stage and they don't finish the last gen, it would be that it would spill the win then. But I think they're probably just gonna try to do their best, maybe get a laser out, just don't give up and try to put the best result forward as possible. Oh, but this might be our killer spotting the survivor, and this is Laser with a little bit of a blinding coming in. But it does look like we're going to have the 4K on just 1 gen remaining.
That is the best Deathslinger performance we have seen this entire season, and of course also pulling it against one of our top contenders. Reverse is going to go down in season 7 history here with a Deathslinger 4K at 1 generator remaining. The first time Six was actually able to pick this killer despite all the bans that have come through in previous matchups, but this is undoubtedly the best result that we've seen from a Deathslinger with a beautiful 4K at 1 generator remaining, with also just such a beautifully unique combination of add-ons and perks, with the double pop in combination with the ruin, just so aggressive with the gen regression and then or the gen protection, and then also with the 2 add-ons. Now I believe, as we noticed at the end there, that Pale was fresh on hook. That survivor should have probably gone in for the trade here and not let that teammate go die on hook, as we did see Neverhead after the shot did commit to hitting Pale, and the trade could have come through in the meantime. So might have been an unfortunate mistake here, but our survivors might have also just tried to potentially force the 3-man escape here, which unfortunately is of course going to end on the very different on the other side of the spectrum here. But that is going to conclude our first set with the Deathslinger, and with a very obvious win for Team 6, and we are going to move on to Reverse's pick, the Pyramid Head on Groaning Storehouse, right after a short break. Hello everybody, and we are now actually back after a short interruption by, unfortunately, the wrong offering taken by our survivor side, which is going to be penalized with a -2 coming into the Pyramid Head set. This is the equivalent to a full generator. We're going to see 3 survivors running water tower together like the Scooby squad. We're already going to see the 3-man chase here, apparently. Yeah, it is the 3-man chase right from the get-go. Wash beautifully making the decision of walking over to water tower, expecting our survivors to spawn there, and was fortunate enough to find 3 survivors right from the get-go. Laser is going to take that first hit, and of course Wash also utilizing the double range add-ons. The very aggressive shot straight through Shaq. Was expecting the drop, and we're not going to see the pallet kick. Gonna see the bamboozle out, but our survivor Laser just held W straight to main building, beautifully making the distance that is necessary against a Pyramid Head from abroad.
Really nice perk choosing here, I'd say, on our killer, and I don't think we've seen Bamboozle a lot on this map, but it seems like it's kind of paying off, because this is going to be the first one onto Laser once again before the corrupt intervention is completely run out. We're also able to interrupt Pedro on that gen over here, which also already has a lot of progress, as well as this one where Hubi is working on. I think this might be even 3 gens with a lot of progress for our survivors.
Yeah, getting this hooked so early onto the game is going to be very good. Is going to be a very good start for Team 6, considering our survivors were also forced to eat the -2 from that little mistake, or the happy little accident with the wrong offering taken. But Wash already has so much pressure so early on, is now going to get the reveal of the Rancor. An attempted flashlight blind on the pallet, but a little bit too far away. Is now going to know that Pedro is the only survivor on this side of the map, and Bamboozle is actually a chase perk that has been used over I believe every single time now, always trying to utilize it in main building, as Bamboozle in main building can be very important as a Pyramid Head, because Pyramid Head is not able to shoot his ability through that through that block where or through that part of the building where basement spawns. So it is used to counter the infinite, or the extremely powerful windows that survivors can take advantage of very well. We're going to see all 3 survivors on generators here. Laser is going to be sacrificed, or the second stage is going to be sacrificed onto Laser. Gonna see both survivors, however, are going to be interrupted in main building. Wash is going to walk right around, but our survivors might have stayed main. No! Wash with a very nice read onto our survivor. Hubi or DB is also going to land the snipe with that Rites of Judgment, going to score the injure, which is going to put so much more pressure on our survivors, as there's now only 2 survivors able to get the rescue.
We have seen Laser go into the second stage. This is just a visual bug, so if we get another down onto Laser, this could spell the final elimination of our first survivor. We do see Pedro trying to get a little bit of a distraction going with a flashlight. However, well, never mind. It seems to have worked, because Lasers seem to have made at least a little bit of distance, and now is able to connect this chase over to the next tile. But now you cornered once again, and this is only an LT wall. However, we do have gen number 3 popping in the distance. Our survivors are doing a great job on keeping their eyes out on the objective, but with this bamboozle vault, I think this should spell the down. And why? Wait, there's no number 4?
Yeah, as you said, I'm also in awe here. The penultimate generator is popped in the meantime. Laser is going to be picked up straight away. Unfortunately, no decisive strike on our lorry, and that is going to be the death at 1 generator remaining, with Watch still having access to Know It and Rancor for our end game. And Pedro is still the obsession that is looking really nice for Watch here. Still that 1 survivor that is Moriable, which would grant the full points for our Pyramid Head. So far, a strong 3 status, but has so much pressure for the remainder of the game. A double vault comes in. Pale on main building is not going to run into a Pyramid Head, but Wash might have closed the distance here, and has successfully. Not going to be using the Rites, now going to use the Rites of Judgment here. Pale trying to utilize the Firecracker to avoid that first hit, but the M1 comes through regardless. Wash now still going to pursue our survivor, who I believe is running into at least 2 generators. I don't exactly know what generator our survivors are working on, but Pale gets it straight through the Z-wall. Not going to abuse the infamous infinite here. And it seems like Pale was also using live, because that was quite the distance from the vault. Gonna see DB rotating around the map, most likely setting up for the save, as they are our borrowed time bearer. We're not even going to see Pedro on that last generator. So with no survivors on any of the generators, Wash is looking in a very promising situation.
Yeah, our survivors are maybe hoping to get a reset in, but with Hoopy's spot, Pedro has no option but to go for the save, preferably before that down is going to come in, and that's exactly what's happening in the meantime. However, Hoopy caught up in the same corner as Laser was earlier, so this is going to spell a fast down on to our Nancy over here. We might be seeing the last two survivors going in for reset or even pressuring that gen, but they might be expecting the last perk on our killer side, which is going to be the know it. So maybe that's why they actually aren't resetting. We do get a little bit of a dry kick onto the gen over here. However, we do have a lot of distance towards the last gen. I was about to say that that baby is gonna pop.
Yeah, we're going to see that final generator is finally getting popped here, but the survivor in chase in question is going to be Pedro, who is the Rancor obsession. So if this survivor goes down, and we're not going to see a sequence for the people play, then this survivor is looking very much steadier for Wash now, straight on the radar, or straight ahead on the radar here, is trying to get the down onto our Adam, who will be forced to take the vault. Wash not going to be using the ability just yet. Instead, I believe Pedro was hesitating a bit on the vault there, expecting Wash to, of course, go for that snipe here, as most Pyramid plays are very aggressive, but Adam is going to go down to the M1. Wash keeps faking that a bit, faking the ability. The Mori is going to come through. Adam gets picked up, lifted into the air, and that is going to grant Wash the insta 3 stages.
And this is beautiful. We haven't had a lot of Moris, and I'm very thankful we got to see that.
Ooh.
However, in the meantime, our survivors were able to open the last gate. But this is, I think this is still a pretty good result on this killer. What do you say?
Yeah, it is quite impressive for Wash, considering both the survivors that escaped successfully have already been hooked once previously. So Wash will be able to end up with 8 status and having every single survivor hooked once. That is extremely unfortunate that Pedro was that one survivor that was caught at the very end, but might have gone, but considering both of our survivors were cross-map on the exit gate, they might have tried to thread the needle and get Pedro out through the hatch there on the shack, but unfortunately we're not able to do it in time, and Pedro is sacrificed as a result. That is going to be 8 status on our first game for 6 on Reverse's pick coming into the Executioner set, and after a short break we will be back with Reverse's response on the killer side.
And we're back into the next trial. This is trial number 2 of set number 2, and we have once again Magic on the killer side for Reverse versus the survivors of Team 6, and we've had a really good result in our previous trial, which spelled a current score of 20-12 in favor of 6. So this is going to be really hard to put up against, but we do enter the first chase rather quickly in this trial.
And I do have to question right from the get-go, Oya is using Soul Survivor, a perk that, of course, besides its actual perk effect where it affects our rating in some way, that perk is the most is the least used perk in the entire game, I'm pretty sure. But Soul Survivor also forces the obsession on you. But I'm questioning how relevant that is against a Pyramid Head where only Rancor can really be brought in. Because Soul Survivor used to be brought in to play around, play with your food, or save the best for last more efficiently, and also more organized, as of course with the save the best for last, you will always just have that person in chase, and against play with your food, you will always just have that person hidden. But both of these perks would not be brought in by a Pyramid Head, so I'm very curious as to why this perk was brought in. But we're already going to, regardless, we're already going to see Magic trying to get the down onto Neverhad, but Neverhad with a very dominant chase here will not be put down just yet. Oya is going to utilize the balance landing last second, our only European survivor on this roster against our Russian killer. The first M1 is going to come through. Oya is just going to run straight into the corner or the pocket of this map, trying to gain as much distance as possible. But against the Pyramid Head, that's going to be very difficult, considering the double range out on that Magic is also utilizing. That first generator does, however, pop. Oya is not going to fall for the red light mind game, not going to fall straight into Magic, and is going to be able to keep looping. But the pallet drop is going to come. No, the pallet drop is not going to come through. Magic hits the Rites of Acknowledgement straight onto Oya. That is going to be our first down at, however, 3 generators remaining.
Yeah, beautiful shot coming out here from the Magic. It is, however, just a little bit late because we do have our whole Corrupt already running out, and we do see a little more progress onto another gen. Additionally to the 2 who have already been popped in the meantime, we do see The Magic does have something in his back pocket though for the end game, so a little cheeky no way out could come in handy later on, but you do want to secure as many stages as possible during our trial as well. We have spread a little bit of pressure across the board with a lot of injuries in the meantime. However, our survivors did go for the reset pretty fast. We're now entering the next chase with, I think it's Criminal.
Oh, yeah, the Criminal Adam you never had was in fact playing it also in the in our Deathslinger game, but a bug made it unviewable, unfortunately. Also, Lamagic, I believe the first permit had to not bring Bamboozle to play around main building so far, or I might be mistaken here, but Bamboozle is the most common pick. Ultra running straight into Lamagic here, unfortunately, going to give our killer a free hit here, but of course still has that no way out Rancor available for late game, as you said, trying to go for the hit here, but yeah, that lunge got cancelled by our main building, bug here with basement, because of course that can't go through, but Ultra tries to go for the medium vault here. The 230 MS vault comes, it's not going to be able to come through. Lamagic gets out down right next to basement. This survivor also has been tormented, so the next time they go down, that would be the instantaneous death, but 2 generators are close to completion, and that is going to be going to put our killer at a not yet the execution, as Ultra has not been hooked previously, but that is going to be now the 1 generator remaining with only 2 stages, and Lamagic has to get 8 if he wants to win this set for his team.
Really good job from our survivor side here to push the gen and main to fully completion before our killer was able to come back out of basement, because if Ultra would have been in there with the generators still being in main, you could have worked around a really nice 3 gen and maybe worked around that in your end game. However, now we're gonna try to keep Ultra in there for a little longer without that gen being able to get protected, and we do see gen number 4 pop in as well, so you really need to pick up the pace.
Yeah, this is looking extremely difficult for Team Reverse here, with Wash being able to get that many stages in the previous game. Lamagic now trying to find this, enough stages here. Ultra is going to hit second stage, but this generator is so close to completion, and Lamagic does not have access to the no one escapes death here, so that late game is going to be difficult regardless of that no way out, because so far, in quotations, only 2 stacks of no way out have been gathered. A very nice dodge by Never Had Criminal Adam in the distance. Gonna see Oya trying to spin out the ability here, but Lamagic is going to stay on course and get that injure. But in the meantime, Ultra will be rescued, and Lamagic, completely out of position, will not be able to get back to Ultra in time. That survivor has left basement minutes ago, and is now going to be a bit in a very stressful situation here, as these generators are very close to completion and very much spread out across the map. So this is going to be very difficult for Lamagic to gather another 6 stages for at least the tie.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure if Ultra did go into second or not, because of our visual bug also still being a thing. We are, at least I am currently not aware of it, him going into second stage, but with him being tormented, that might spell a fast elimination for Lamagic over here, and if you now can get another one onto Oya, that still wouldn't be enough, because Oya has already been hooked, and we've had some people say earlier that they might have put the sole survivor onto Oya to force maybe the obsession onto that survivor, which could be an interesting play strategy-wise as well, if you know maybe, okay, that's the survivor who's most likely to get chased first, or you want that survivor to show themselves a little earlier, but this is now going to be the second stage onto Oya. We do see the last gen popping pretty soon, though probably we go for the rescue first to get rid of that torment status, but Quentin over here is doing the job, so now I don't know, I don't think Lamagic can do a whole lot to turn this around.
Yeah, this is going to be extremely difficult, considering Oya has also been rescued off the cage instantaneously, as he came out right next to our, I believe, Nia working on the generator. The hit does come through, but our survivors are all standing, and with 2 exit gates, having to deal with 2 exit gates, this is going to be impossible to stop the progression on. You're going to see our Criminal Adam running to Shack, trying to use the tiles here. Gonna see all our survivors waiting out on the blocked exit gates here. Now rather had, just trying to put up a good last-ditch effort here in the chase, but already being on the exact opposite side of all the gates. This should secure the 3-man escape and the 2-0 win for Team 6.
And now we have down onto Neverhead, and with the hour expired, as you've mentioned, you probably won't make it in time. We already see all the lights popping, and I think maybe even a little bit of a celebration here coming out from Joy King, doing a little bit, or at least attempting the moonwalks, and there we see the 1, 2, 3 men out. So this spells the 2-0 in favor of 6. Congratulations, I guess our predictions were wrong.
Well, yeah, we were both really hoping for the Cenobite tiebreaker on Dead Dog Saloon, because that is something I am yet to see. But this is going to end up with a 2-0 victory for Team 6 here, with a very dominant performance over Team Reverse. A beautiful ending in this Executioner set now, after Washed has done so incredibly well in the first game of the set here, being able to secure 8 stages, which is, I believe, way above average than what we usually see, because our usual resorts are, or our common resorts are 6 stages on the Pyramid Head, where 2 survivors die and 2 survivors escape without having been hooked previously. But Wash being able to get it down on every single survivor at least once has put up such a big difference in the points here, and made such a difficult win condition for the Magic here. That is going to conclude our only matchup for today as well.
It's going to conclude in a final score of 35-29 in favor of 6, and I have to say, I don't want to leave Reverse completely out of this equation, because I think they really put up a nice fight. However, 6 did win this, so we are going to have an interview with one of the members of Team 6, and we're gonna bring that to you after just a very quick minute.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another interview. I promise I'm not muted this time. I can see the bar below on the Streamlabs thing moving, so I know I'm not muted this time. And for this interview, I am joined by Ultra from 6.
Yep.
Alright, so how'd the win feel?
Felt pretty good. We played like as per expected, and as we actually did in scrims, instead of having somebody get hit and then sniped into main.
Nice. Alright, so that was kind of just a low-level question. Let's get into the nitty-gritty, if you will. So, my first question is about something we were speculating a little bit on the pre-show. And that question is, was there some sort of gentleman's agreement of sorts to have both the Deathslinger and the Executioner?
Not really. We just kind of banned what we thought they would be like more confident, but also while making sure that we have the killers that our players believe in themselves in. Like Wispy has plenty of Slinger. Most people probably know about Wispy Slinger, so we're confident in them. And Washed has continued to perform as P-Head over and over.
So it kind of just came out lucky that this is how the picks and bans were. You got the Deathslinger and the Pyramid Head for the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Well, my next question is, I forgot the question. I need to like have these written down. I swear sometimes. My next question is about this match. So, obviously, we listened to the interviews from last week from both teams, 6 and Reverse, and you're both looking forward to this match. Did this match like live up to your expectations?
For everybody else, it probably did. I just kind of got 2-tapped. But like, for everybody else that actually performed, I'm sure they had a great time. But I'm pretty sure most of them are friends with the other team, so that's probably why it's a more hyped match for them.
All right, but just not for you specifically.
To be fair, I still respect them all as players. I'm like, they're good people, but like, I just got 2-tapped, so I'm not looking forward to VOD reviewing my POV.
Oh, that is going to be not fun, to say the very least. And I have one more question for you. Six
What's up?
versus Oh Boy next week, or it might be the other way around. Oh Boy versus Six. So you go from facing a top team this week to facing another top team next week. Is anything gonna happen after today? I mean, you guys came off a win, so you guys will be riding that momentum into next week. But is there any like special preparation you're gonna be going through for next week?
We're just gonna scrim like as per usual to
Alright.
not be like even slightly out of practice for the following weeks, especially like in the earlier weeks. I think it's important to have a good score.
All right. So pretty much business as usual as far as preparation.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Well, that is all the questions I have for you. Is there anything you would like to say to Twitch?
Thanks for everyone to coming out to watch. GG's to Reverse and good luck on the rest of their season.
All right. Well, that is all the time we have for this interview. We're gonna get headed back to the Campfire Chat post show, and we will have that with you in just a minute. Again, I've been Willie Austin with the Dead by Daylight League. Thank you, Ultra, for the interview, and we
problem.
will see you in a moment. Bye bye.